Hello, today we are diving into a crucial topic for all JavaScript developers: why the var keyword is considered obsolete and why you should be using let and const instead. Let's get started. First, let's talk about scope. Variables declared with var are function scoped, which means they are accessible throughout the entire function they are declared in. Even if they are inside a block, like an if statement, this can lead to some unexpected behavior. So here I have a function. X is declared inside if statement and it is accessible outside of if statement. So let's check firstly. So as you can see, I see the variable here 10. The variable is inside if statement, but we can access it outside of its if statement. Now, let's look at how this can cause bugs. I am going to comment this firstly. Imagine you have a function that uses a loop to set timeouts. If you use var, you might end up with unexpected results. So let's create the function firstly. Function setup. I am going to use for loop. And let's create the set timeout. Write our function inside. Function console log I, and here we need to put milliseconds. So it is going to be I multiply with 1000. And let's call the function setup. So let's check the result. Here, as you can see, we only have 6. 6 is logged 5 times. You might expect to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 logged with a 1 second interval, but instead we get 6 logged 5 times. This happens because var is function scope, so I is shared across all the timeout. Now let's rewrite this with let to see the difference. So I am going to comment here. Both let and const are block scoped, which means they are only accessible within the block they are declared. This helps prevent the issue we just saw. So let's write our function again. Function setup. I am going to copy it from here, but now I am going to use let instead of var. And let's check the result. We need to call the function first. So as you can see, now we see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So with let, each iteration of the loop has its own scope. So I is correctly logged as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's discuss hoisting. With var, the declaration is moved or hoisted to the top of its scope, but the assignment stays in place. This can be really confusing. So let me show you an example. Let's comment this again. So let's console log x. Console log x. As you can see, there is no x. All of them commented. And create the variable var x equals to 5. Firstly, let's guess the result of this line. And now let me show you the result. As you can see, it is undefined. You might expect an error here, but instead you get undefined because the declaration is hoisted. Another issue is that var has no block scope. This means variables can be accidentally overwritten or accessed outside their intended block. So let me show you an example again. Let's create for loop again. So let's console log I. So here I is accessible outside of the loop, which is not what you usually want. So let's console log I and see the result. So as you can see, it is again 10. Our for loop is here, but we can access it outside of the loop. Using let or const solves these problems because they are block scoped. So let me show you an example. Function example. If true, let y 10 and const set 20, and then console log y and console log z. So first, please guess the result of these console logs, and then I am going to show you. Let's call the example. And let's see the result. Now, as you can see, we have an error here. Reference error y is not defined. And if we comment here and check console log z, now we have the same message, reference error z is not defined. So basically, if we try to access y or z outside of this if statement, we get reference error. If we did the same thing here, so as you can see, we do not get any reference error and the code is working perfectly. Although let and const are hoisted, they are not initialized until their declaration is evaluated. This means you cannot use them before they are declared, preventing the undefined issues we saw with var. So let's give an example. So let's console log a, and let's write let a equals to 5, and let's see the result. Now we have reference error, cannot access a before initialization. So let's do the same thing with constant console.log b const b equals to 10, and now we have the same error. Reference error, cannot access b before initialization. So you will get an error if you try to access let and const variables before they are declared, which also helps you to catch bugs early. Also, const allows you to declare variables that cannot be reassigned, which is great for values that should remain constant. So let's give an example. Const c equals 15. So let's firstly console log it, c, and we see the 15 here. It works fine. If we try to change this 15 to 20, we are going to get an error. So let's try c equals 20, and now we get the error, type error, assignment to constant variable. If you need to change these values, you can use let instead of const. So let's give an example from let d, let's say 5, and console log it, and we see 5 here, and let's make it 10, for example, 10, and now we see it as 10, and there is no any error. In conclusion, using let and const instead of var helps you write cleaner, safer, and more maintainable code. Const should be your default choice for variables that won't change, and let for those that will change. Avoid using var to prevent scope related issues. I hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. See you next time.